everyone, it's Kara and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would do something a little bit more fun on my channel, and that is working with Crayola markers. Now, I've used these before. It's not that big of a challenge for me. However, a lot of people don't realize one technique you can use with them to make actually pretty decent looking artwork. And I'm going to be using them today and showing you guys at least how I use them whenever I create a drawing. So that's the main material. But whenever I use Crayola markers, I also use the lid of one of my watercolor sets. Just the lid, just the plastic part. I also use a little like aqua brush type thing. Now this is a Sketchbox one. But you can get aqua brushes at like Michael's and Hobby Lobby and other craft stores. For this piece, I'm also allowing myself to use a Micron inking pen to ink my work. Now, it might not be the black one. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I'm also going to be using one of my mechanical pencils. This one has like red lead, and I just like using it because it's cool looking. I don't know. It doesn't erase very well. But I feel like the effect with it is kind of pretty, so I'm going to be using all those different things. I'm also going to use a white jelly roll pen later on, and I will link all the supplies I use down in the description below. But let me figure out what I'm going to sketch. I may or may not do this on camera. For those who do not know, I have issues sketching and inking and stuff on camera because the angle is weird. I always lift my paper, like say this is my sketchbook, but I always lift it so I'm looking directly at it, and it's really hard to film from that angle, but I'll see what I can do. I'll at least pop in a couple little like sketching process things. Anyway, that's enough. As you can see, I decided to sketch on camera. Now I just chuckled there because this is like the 4th time I'm trying to record the same thing. I am so out of practice, but I'll get used to it. Anyway, for this drawing, I decided to redraw a character I put into my bedroom drawing. So some of you may recognize the pose and the outfit and stuff. The only thing I didn't include was the heart on the chest, and I actually like the character in the bedroom drawing a lot more. But I'll get into that, like the reasoning behind that in a little bit. So I get asked pretty frequently why I sketch in red instead of gray, and the reason for that is the red lead just blends in with my artwork a lot better than the gray lead does. So the gray lead, when I go to erase, it doesn't always fully erase, and you can still see like the little gray marks from where I sketched in my finished products. While with the red lead, it doesn't show up quite as much because of my color schemes that I typically use. The only downside about the red lead is that it really does not erase very well. So that's kind of a downfall with it. I'm trying to find a nice red lead that'll erase pretty easily. I just have not found one yet. But I just love the look of the red lead, honestly. Now, the anatomy on this character, I'm going to talk about the character again. The anatomy is not perfect. It's really hard to draw bodies normally. And then it's just an extra challenge when I have to draw at a certain angle. So the anatomy is off. I'm aware. I went with it anyway. I went with it anyway. Hi, tongue twisters. But I went with it anyway. And I don't think it turned out, like, super bad. I think it turned out pretty alright where I could still work with it. As far as the inking went, that is the most challenging part of this drawing. Like, sketching on camera is a little bit easier than inking. Inking, I usually turn the page all sorts of different directions to make sure my lines are nice and smooth and perfect. I ended up messing up there on the hand because I made the one line way too long and it went into the palm. But I worked with it by covering it up with a Uni-ball Signo. Now, it didn't work that well, but it was doable. And yeah, that's basically all the inking and sketching that I did. Don't know what else to say about it. I'm going to take the marker, uncap it, and I'm going to put some of the color in here. Now, it's going to look very... like, it's obviously not going to color very well. We're just trying to disperse some of the ink in here to use. I should have probably gotten the thicker markers, to be honest. But there's some brown ink down, and then I'm going to put in a little bit of yellow, or a little bit of pink first, I guess. But a little bit of pink and yellow to create my skin color. And I basically do half brown, and then a quarter pink, and then about a quarter yellow to make the skin tone. Or at least that's what's worked for me in the past. Before I actually apply the color to my drawing, I check it on the side. Now I am using my aqua brush here to pick up that color, and on the very edge of my paper, which I don't think you guys can see, so I'm going to pull it down here, I'm just going to test the color. Now that's a pretty alright color, but I'm going for more of a pastel theme. So I'm actually going to go in and add a little bit more pink here, a little bit more pink and a little bit more yellow to lighten up that color a little bit. I'm recreating a character that I had in my bedroom drawing, but I'm probably going to draw her again at some point. So let's see how this color looks in comparison. It's a little bit lighter, and I'm actually okay with that. So if you want a lighter color, you can add more water to your little color piece, obviously. But once I get the color that I want, I'm just going to take my brush and paint it on. It's basically just using the markers as watercolor instead of actual markers. And I've found this to be really helpful, especially if you don't have money for supplies. This is super duper helpful. I guess this piece is not going to be pastel anymore. It's a little bit darker than what I wanted. But I actually like this skin tone. It's really pretty. I don't think my camera captures it very well. It's a nice like tan color with a hint of pink because I added a lot more pink marker. And I'm just gonna fill in areas where I want there to be the skin tone. It's really pretty. But I just like using Crayola this way, 'cause sometimes I like to dabble in my cheaper supplies to make others realize you don't need expensive materials to create art. This is why I made the Sharpie tutorial, and this is why I'm making this video, just to show you guys, like, hey, you can do this with Crayola, it's fine. But I think that's a really pretty skin tone. Anyway, I'm gonna get back into doing speed art. This is a note I am inserting to my future self if I happen to watch this video again, which I probably will. Make sure you record a couple seconds after you finish speaking to make sure your voice actually is picked up entirely. I keep noticing that's an issue with my own audio. Ah! So now I'm coloring, and the one thing that I didn't mention was how to shade, and it's really tricky to explain in just words. I'm better at showing, but it's also kind of hard to show on camera versus in person. But I'm going to explain it as best I can. So basically, you'll mix your darker colors and apply that to the areas that you want the shadows to be in. And then when you want to blend it out, you want to make sure your brush is just slightly damp but mostly dry. And you'll take the edge of your brush and just blend that darker color into the lighter colors a little bit better. It really takes practice. I was actually having a little bit of difficulty here, even getting the colors that I wanted to use for shadows. I ended up dipping into my black marker, which I usually never like to use black, but I did here to get the darker shadows. Overall, I'm really happy with how this girl turned out. The shadows and shading could be a little bit better, but I'm using Crayola. I'll give myself a little bit of a break. We're our own worst critics when it comes to our own artwork. But I hope you guys like how she turned out. And yeah, that's basically how I use Crayola markers. Anyway, that is my video about Crayola markers. If you like the video, please leave a like down below or even comment. I like reading the comments and maybe I'll reply to you. You don't know. If you like my artwork, feel free to subscribe. I don't really have a posting schedule. I just kind of post when I feel like it. I work 2 jobs. It's a little hard to post, but I'll do my best. I really want to try and be active on YouTube again. As far as my materials, they will be featured down in the description down below. I think this is the 3rd time I've said it, but whatever. I just want to make sure you guys are aware. I also have links to my other social media down below. Anyway, there's my beautiful little girl character. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!